So, I want to talk to you today about my stat pack that I've got for 25-26. I've put a lot of work over the summer, mainly because I enjoy it. Now, I'm not saying that this stat pack is going to be necessarily all that helpful to anybody else, but it's only for me anyway, so it doesn't matter. But it's basically drawing on all of the stats from 24-25. Mainly today, I'll be showing you my work on first half goals for my over 2.5 goals trading. And it's basically looking at all of the key variables, or what I see as the key metrics for teams to show that they are likely or unlikely to score goals in the first half of games, because that dictates which sort of games I'm going to be looking to trade over 2.5 goals. I'm very heavily focused on first half stats for my 2.5 goals trading because I like to get in and out of the market. I'm not that interested if goals come in the last 10 minutes and it ends up 5-3, because I want to be in and out of the market around half time really. So I need goals in the first half to satisfy what I like to do. So this stat pack is pulling all of those relevant data points from last season into one place, and then I'm using that to sort of not inform my trading this year, because I can't use data from last year really to trade this year. It's more of a sort of, I don't know, just an extra layer of sort of data, an extra layer of research that I'll use, because there are a lot of teams in there that are very similar. They're going to play similar to last year. They're not going to have a manager change. They're not going to have an overhaul of players. They're going to be, pretty much as they were last year. And they're the teams that I'll be looking to trade. I won't be trading promoted or relegated teams. I won't be trading teams with a manager change who's changed style. And that's the background, the softer stuff that I'll be deciding myself. And that's where you've got to decide. If you think a team is going to play the same as last year, you might be able to use the stats. If you don't, that's up to you. This is the approach I'm taking. I'm not telling you to take this approach I'm taking. So let's have a look at the data that I'm talking about. So you'll see here, I've got a Premier and Champ only. So this is just what I'm going to show you today. And this is all of the data that I've pulled together in one place for the Championship. This one is, and you can see we've got things like overall half time, games, goals conceded. Then it's split up to home and away. I like to split my data up to home and away because I think it's got a huge difference. I don't just want overall how many goals we scored in the first half. If 90% of those goals are at home and I'm trading an away game, then it's going to skew the facts. So I want to know home and away broken down. So you'll see that most of my stats have got overall and then home and away. So overall home and away, half-time goals percentages, and the percentage of over 0.5, 1.5, percentage of both teams to score, because I do like both teams to be engaged in a game for the over 2.5 trading. Half-time goal percentage home and away, as I said. When the opening goals are scored, so how many games has the opening goal been scored by that team? What's the average time of that goal? And then it breaks it down into the minutes of, so 3 goals were scored between 0 and 15, 5 between, yeah. So, and you can see this one, you have to have a bit of a caveat to 57% of the time they've scored a first half goal. It doesn't mean, I did put a note, yeah, okay. They've scored the opening goal 26 times out of 38. This is the note is from a different spreadsheet. I've left the note on by accident because I copy and pasted, but the theory is the same. So say if that OGS was 26 instead of 21 as it is there, that'd be saying, and this was from the Premier League table, so I could show you the Premier League. Sorry, carry on. They'd scored the opening goal 26 out of 38 times. For this one, 21 out of 46, is it? Of those games, 69% was in the first half. So what we're saying is, out of those 21 times that they scored the opening goal, 57% of those were in the first half. So we're not saying that they scored a first half goal 57% of the time. We're saying when this team, so this is Blackburn, when Blackburn scored the first goal of the game, they did so in the first half 57% of the time. So the other 43%, they scored the first goal, but it was in the second half. Okay, makes sense? We've got the same for home and away. Then we've got the same, but flipped on its head for conceded. How many times did they concede the first goal? What time? And how many times was that in the first half? Home and away. For conceded. And then combined one, which is the one I like the most, to be honest, because I don't really care who scores the goals. I want a goal. So this is combined, scored and conceded. Again, both equalisers. This is quite interesting for when you're sort of laying or backing a team as well. How many times have they conceded the first goal and then equalised? What percentage of the time? Home and away again. So we've got a hell of a lot of stats that we can use to dictate, or not to dictate, but to inform our over 2.5 goals betting. Now, obviously, this is a lot of data. I've put some conditional formatting on this as well. So the green is the top 5% of those numbers. So you can see Burnley last year, as you'd expect, goals for 39 is in the top 5%. I think it's 5% I put on. Leeds 43. So these are teams that you're thinking, well, if they're playing, I'm expecting goals. And what I particularly like are these teams that have got a run of green. So Middlesbrough, you can see that half-time goal percentage over 0.5, 76% of the time, over 1.5, and both teams to score. So basically, Middlesbrough, I'm saying that Middlesbrough are going to be good for first half goals betting, and over 2.5 then, if that's the case. And especially at home, you can see at home, they've got all greens again. Away, still not bad to be fair. We're not really interested in over 1.5 at home. First half goals, I mean, that's a real sort of bonus if they get over 1.5, but often over 1 in the first half is enough for me to trade out with a profit. So Middlesbrough, Norwich, it's really easy to picture it, isn't it, if you've got the colours. Middlesbrough, Norwich, Coventry aren't bad. QPR, you could say, at home, and away, Portsmouth for goals. And so what I'll be doing is using this to put a picture together of when teams are playing each other, to just look at the stats. And then obviously you can scroll across as well and see, how much green there is. Middlesbrough look really good. And then you've got to factor in, have they got the same players? Have they got the same manager? What's going on? And that's not the case with Middlesbrough. So it's not just look at this and bet you're going to lose that way. But I like to have as much data as I can. So then I'll obviously layer on top the current sort of data, injuries and sort of playing conditions and manager changes and, whatever it might be. But I have this in the background and I just enjoy having that level. And then what I'll do is have a look at the champ fixtures. This is real basic, as you can see. But if you look at this opening weekend, Blues, I'm recording this. Got a blue shirt on? That wasn't even intentional, honestly. I don't normally wear it. Last night, Blues, Ipswich. What about that penalty? I mean, it's going to be given, isn't it? Like, if anyone's seen the penalty, Lyndon Dykes handball in the injury time. I don't want those penalties given, to be honest, but they are given, so I can't really be like, woe betide me because I'm a Blues fan. I honestly wouldn't want it given if it was the other team, but I'd accept, obviously you take it, do you know what I mean? But I'd take it, be like, oh yeah, they always get given, it's a penalty, yeah, we've got a 1-1 draw. But I don't want them giving in any football, really. I think that's nonsense, but whatever, 1-1. Blues look good, Blues look really good. Ipswich, obviously, first game of the season, away to Blues, that's not ideal for Ipswich. They're going to be up there, aren't they? They're probably going to win the league still, I would have thought. They're still getting a few new players in. Like everybody, I think it's a good time to play them, really. When they're flying, sort of, in a couple of months' time, I wouldn't want to be playing them at all. But Blues, hopefully, will get a bit better as well. I mean, I think anybody, even the neutrals, would surely concede that for a team coming up from League One, I know they spent a lot of money, but it's a good performance, so I'm taking it. Anyway, sorry, back to this. These are the fixtures, taking out the home and the promoted and relegated teams for this weekend. So for over 0.5 goals in the first half, Norwich Millwall is one I'm interested in, and Sheffield United Bristol, both teams to score. I mean, it's not ideal really. You could say Oxford Portsmouth if you're grasping, but it's not great this weekend. That's fine. If I do this for every single league, then I'm going to have a lot of options, and that's what I'm talking. So this is only obviously the Championship. Now, this is quite a long video already, isn't it? 9 minutes. I'll show you a little bit that I've got the same for the Premier League. Man City, as you'd expect, pretty good to bet on. Liverpool, Tottenham are outrageous, and this is where you see all the notes from. Actually, I just copied and pasted the headline. So 26 from 38 for Arsenal, opening goal scored, and that's where that note came from. I'll put more notes on the Premier League one. You can see here, Fulham in the top 5% for over 0.5 first half goals at home, and both teams to score half-time percentage at home. So that's one that you wouldn't necessarily think, oh, Fulham, yeah, I'll back them for goals. People, maybe they go under the radar if you're not a Fulham fan, but that's something that I might take a look at. Liverpool, as you'd sort of expect. Man City, Tottenham, outrageous stats for Tottenham last year, but a massive change in philosophy with Frank coming in and a lot of players sort of turning over. They've got, you'd be betting on every single game if you were looking for goals last year. But as you can see, I've put a note, Tottenham in top 5% scoring and conceding in the first half away, note, manager change, reference Brentford. So you might want to look at Brentford stats to see a little bit more about how Frank's teams might play. Wolves, really good, really strong in terms of goal betting for Wolves. So this is my stat pack, and this is something that I want to show you how to make. Now, I haven't gone through and hand typed in all of these data points because that would be ridiculous. What I have done is I've got this stat pack here, as you'll see. I'm going to sort of show you that's League One. I've got them for, I think I've cut the recording off, but basically I've got them for all of them. I've got them for League One, League Two, La Liga, French Bundesliga, Serie A. I'm going to blur out any of the actual sites that I use, but I'm importing these data points from websites. I'm importing the data. I'm using import HTML. I'm referencing the correct table number and which columns I want, and I'm pulling in the data, and I'm then VLOOKUPing that data to put into my wide tables and put it where I want and change my columns. I'm going to show you how to do that in the next video. Yeah, that's just my little stat pack. Ask any questions you want about it, how to do it, but I will explain in a further video in a little bit more detail how to actually do the nuts and bolts of the import. Alright then, take it easy, enjoy your football this weekend.